Oh, we're live. Hey, Nicole here, guys. Hey, the all-seeing eye, right? It sees everything. But with the all-seeing eye, are you in your clarity? That's what I talked about today. That's the energy forecast today. Uh, when I did my show, or I should say, attempted to do my show today, I had clarity on the path of my show. The Miriam, who I was interviewing, had clarity on the subject she was talking about. We had a clear connection. However, for some reason, there was still some vibrations out there in the world. You know, hey, on this third dimension, we got some crazy vibrations coming out there. We could not get the connection through the live stream, so we recorded the show. We overcame. We were able to have the vision and the insight to find a clear path to get the interview done, because maybe the universe wasn't ready for that interview to start. Maybe the universe, or this dimension, the third dimension, wasn't ready to hear the message we had to share. And that beautiful message was about crossing over. It was about allowing people and assisting them in crossing over. You know, when we have family that crosses over and we're caregivers of that person, or they may be in a hospital or hospice, especially now, there's a time for grief and a time to be a caregiver. The point that constantly got driven home today was, and I have some notes from the show and I have notes from before the show, was really about the distress and the grief and the shock that family members go through, especially caregivers. I myself was a caregiver of my brother when he was at home with a brain injury. I was going through the police academy. I had a young daughter, and my mother was older, disabled. She's still with me now. And, you know, she's still independent, but still, that's a lot to factor in. And I wanted to survive and I wanted to tough through it, but I didn't give myself the time to grieve. I didn't give myself that much needed ability to have an emotional moment, to grieve, to work through the grief, to get through the grief. I took care of my brother because that's what I needed to do. I took care of my brother because he took care of me when I was young. And he was always there when I was in the hospital or I stayed home because I had a lot of illnesses throughout my life and I needed people to take care of me. And I wanted to be there for him. So I thought, I am going to be the all-around, all-encompassing woman and take care of him, take care of my mother, my daughter, go to university, online school, right? And I was at a physical police academy and I was just doing it. I was living, I was doing, I was working. Oh my gosh, what wasn't I doing? And now I realize that I needed to be there. I needed to be present. And fortunately I was, but I wasn't present and there for myself. And as caregivers, we suppress our feelings and we hold them. And we don't allow that grief and that shock because we want to be strong. But part of that being strong and the ability to be strong is to give yourself a moment to take a deep breath, to really feel into your heart, to bring the light around you, to use things like essential oils, to use crystals to really level up and use the tools that you have so you can heal yourself. And because in healing, oh, hey, Darren from Las Vegas, how are you? When you have the tools and you allow help because you're helping other people as a caregiver, when you help your patient in whether it's in hospice or a family member, a husband, a wife, a loved one, as you heal these people, as you bring things like Reiki, as you bring things like crystals, as you bring things like essential oils, and to work with them and help them to cross over, help ease their pain at that moment. As you bring those in, you're also bringing the blessing of healing yourself, right? But that only happens when you have clarity, when you are consciously connected, and when you surrender. You need to surrender to listen. You need to surrender all the things that you thought you knew. You need to surrender all the busyness. You need to surrender all that moment, because there's paperwork and there's emotions that have built up for so long when you're taking care of people. You need to be present. You need to be in that moment right now. And there's a few things you can do. Now, I've worked with hospice, and as I stated, I took care of my brother. But the beautiful thing when I was here in Las Vegas working with hospice and helping those patients cross over, that allowed me to work with their higher self, I use things like crystals. I would put, even a selenite stick in my bag, or have a few selenite sticks. Why? Because they help balance. Things like shungite. Shungite, what it does is it helps protect you from any of those negative emotions. When we see people in grief and we're a caretaker, we kind of take on their emotions and we expel our energy endlessly. And we need to protect ourselves from that. Come in balance, strengthen our aura. A really good thing that I love to use is myrrh. Why? I couldn't talk about it enough, because myrrh is great. Whether you're using the resin and burning it with frankincense, or whether you're using it in an oil, putting it on somebody's, just getting it maybe on their arm, or getting it into their feet. If somebody's homebound, if somebody's bedbound, you want to maybe massage it through their feet. Their feet are the most porous part of their body. And then as you're doing that, you're helping that patient balance. You're helping that patient ground, because it's a resin. Myrrh is strong. It has a foundation, a very, very strong tree. It helps with the grief. So as you align with myrrh, you become strong, you become grounded, but it also helps awaken, right? You want to awaken to your consciousness and clarity. You want to protect yourself, and it's a protective oil, but it also helps open. So as you're protecting yourself, you're able to open your eye and see that clarity, because you're grounded. So you never want to excel too higher into your conscious and leveling up without grounding yourself. We're here having an earth experience. So allow yourself to have that experience, but connect to Mother Gaia, and then you can soar as high as you want. But as you're soaring, you're able also to connect to the higher self of the patient or the person that you're taking care of. As you find this connection, you're able to open up to grief. And grief is very important. We need to allow ourselves to grieve as caretakers. We want to be strong. We want to fight the fight for the person that's now a victim, or they're vulnerable, or they're in a moment of distress. So whatever that path is that's coming on, you want to allow yourself to grieve for them, because as an emotional body, as an empath, we feel other people's feelings. So you're also allowing your patient to grieve, and as you're feeling their feelings, you're going to feel a little bit of grief. So you don't want to take it with you. You want to leave it there, and you want to help that person, that patient, grieve, and you want to grieve. If you're grieving because of a husband or a brother or a sister that you are taking care of, allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to be in that moment. And that's what myrrh does. And it helps us find that grief and that clarity for where that person is at. It helps us to establish where we are at emotionally, where we want to get to, and how we can help that person. Because once you grieve and you have had that loss, or you're feeling the loss coming, excuse me, you want to be able to excuse me, have the balance and the clarity of emotions, and allow your intuition to come in. If you open up to clarity, you can open up to the intuition, and you can see the path ahead. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and end this. because my voice is, it's very dry where I'm at, and I've been talking for several hours. Also today, remember the energy of rebirth and the new you. And in grief, you see the old, but you also see the new life. So for every life that is gone, for every life that leaves this earth, there is a new life that comes in. For every moment that we are having now, as we grieve and we become connected to each other, allow yourself to find the tools to assist you on your journey. And if you having trouble kind of navigating that and you want some help and some guidance, contact me. Remember, I'm Nicole and I'm here for you, so you can always message me or you can call me. My phone number is listed, and you can go to illuminatevegas.com and you can email me. And if you have questions, let's connect about that conscious and that clarity, because we all need assistance, especially in these times right now. Have a great day, guys.